Very good morning, my dear students of class 7. Today in biology, we'll be doing the following topics: kingdom fungi, features of fungi, bread mold, its structure and respiration. Then two more fungus we'll be studying, mushroom and yeast. And we'll be discussing about useful and harmful fungi. In the previous videos, we studied about 5 kingdom classification. We have already finished kingdom Monera and kingdom Protista. So this is the third kingdom, and that is kingdom fungi. These are eukaryotic organisms. They can be multicellular, that means made up of many cells, or they can be unicellular, that means made up of a single cell. Mushrooms and molds, these are the best examples of fungi. Mushroom and molds are multicellular fungi, whereas yeast is the example of unicellular fungi, that means made up of only one cell. So these are the various examples of fungi. Now let us talk about the features of fungi. As I said earlier, they are eukaryotic, that means they have got a well-defined nucleus. They have nucleus. Their cell wall is made up of chitin. They are heterotrophs. Heterotrophs means for their food they depend on other organisms. And why do they depend on other organisms? Because they don't have chlorophyll. Okay, since they don't have chlorophyll, they cannot make their own food. They cannot do photosynthesis. So they don't have food, and hence they have to depend on others, and that is why they are called heterotrophs. They may be parasites and saprophytes. Parasites means since they cannot prepare their own food, so they can live inside or on other organisms. Saprophyte means they feed on dead and decaying matter. Now basically they are divided into 3 groups: thread-like fungi, that is bread mold; club fungi, that is mushroom; and sac fungi, that is yeast. So first we'll be discussing about bread mold, thread-like fungi. So this is a very common scene. You must have seen this type of bread in your kitchen. It is a saprophytic fungus. They grow on stale bread, rotting fruits, vegetables, pickles and jams. The thallus of fungi consists of a mass of thread-like structures. So can you see these thread-like structures? Okay, these are called hyphae. So here you see, can you see this one? All these are hyphae. Okay, and the group of hyphae is called mycelium. So all these are called mycelium. The hyphae grow over the surface of rotting material and further give rise to 2 types of hyphae. So there are 2 types of hyphae. One grows upwards, another one grows downwards. The one growing downward is called rhizoidal hyphae. Look here, rhizoidal hyphae, we also call it rhizoids. So this root-like structure is there which is growing downwards, though it is a hyphae. But which kind of hyphae? Rhizoidal hyphae. That means rhizoids. And the other one that grows opposite to it, that means upwards, and that is called sporangiophore. Sporangiophore. This is growing upward. You can see in the diagram it is growing upward. This is called sporangiophore. The sporangiophore bears a swollen structure at its tip. Here can you see this round structure? This is called sporangium. Okay, this is called sporangium. It is at the tip of sporangiophore, and inside this you can see the oval structures. These are called spores. So on the tip of sporangiophore you will find the sporangium. This is sporangium. Another one here. This is filled with spores. So can you see the spores here? So once it is matured, it ruptures, and these spores, they come out, and each spore germinate into a new plant. The most common bread mold are Rhizopus. Okay, so this is Rhizopus and Mucor. Now let us talk about the nutrition and respiration of bread mold. Bread mold releases digestive enzymes. So wherever they grow, they release the digestive enzymes in their surrounding medium to convert the complex organic molecules such as sugar to a simple form as glucose. So sugar is converted into glucose. Now this simple glucose or this simple food can be absorbed through their body surface, and then they can get the energy to do the various activities. Okay, so this was all about their nutrition. Okay, so what they do, they release digestive enzymes which converts sugar into glucose, and this glucose can be absorbed by their body surface. Now let us talk about the respiration. In two ways they can respire: aerobic and anaerobic. That means they can respire. No, they can respire only aerobically. Okay, that means in the presence of oxygen, just like us. They take in oxygen and give out carbon dioxide. They require only a small amount of oxygen for their growth, but if this oxygen is not there, they cannot grow also. That means they cannot grow in the complete absence of oxygen. Let us see the equation for aerobic respiration. That means respiration in the presence of oxygen. So food or the glucose in the presence of oxygen gives water, carbon dioxide and energy to them. Okay, now this is the activity to observe the growth of bread mold. This all of you must have seen. This is a very common scene in the kitchen, and if you have not seen, you can do it by yourself. You can observe the growth of bread mold. You have to take two petri dishes or any two dishes, 2 slices of bread, some water. That much only is required. So first take 2 petri dishes and label them A and B. Now you can sprinkle some water on both this bread and keep it in A and B. Now what you have to do is put 1 slice of bread in petri dish A, labeled A, cover the petri dish and keep it in the laboratory at room temperature. You don't have lab, you can just keep it in your room. And the other one, the B, you have to cover it and keep it in the fridge, refrigerator. Okay, now you have to observe both the dishes after 3-4 days. Once you take the petri dishes, one from the fridge and one which is kept outside, what will you find? Here on A you find some cottony substances, cotton like white substances. Okay, so this cotton like growth is there on the bread slice kept in dish A, but whatever was kept in B, there is no such growth. So what is proved? The one which you have kept in the fridge is fresh, no problem, no growth of fungus, but the one which was kept outside, it has got fungal growth on top of it. So one thing is proved, that temperature is required warm temperature and moisture are required for the growth of bread mold. Moisture means you sprinkle water on this, so that is moisture, and temperature because it was kept in the room temperature, whereas the one which was there in the fridge did not have the growth of fungus because of low temperature. Now comes mushroom. Some of you must be having your favorite food, mushroom, right? So it is the largest fungus, and you can see them growing on decaying wood or grassy grounds during the rainy season. People cultivate it also. It has a stalk and an umbrella shaped part called the cap. So this is umbrella shaped part, we call it cap, and this is the stalk. Both this stalk and cap, they are made up of tightly packed hyphae. These are also hyphae, but they are tightly packed. Some mushrooms are edible, that means we can eat them. So the mushrooms which we can eat, they are called agaricus, and some which are non-edible, these are poisonous. These are termed as amanita because of the presence of poison. So these two things you should remember. The mushrooms which are edible, which we can eat, are called agaricus, and the one which are poisonous, which we should not eat, are called amanita. Okay, you must have heard some people, they ate this poisonous fungus and they had food poisoning and this and that. So you should be very, very careful. Only we should eat the mushroom which is agaricus, that means edible mushrooms. Then comes yeast. You must be having yeast in your kitchen. If you have not seen, you can ask your mom to show you yeast. It's a saprophytic fungus. This can be seen growing on a sugary substance like sugarcane juice. All of you know what is sugarcane. So sugarcane juice, fruits or milk. This is unicellular fungus. It lives in colony and reproduces by budding. So a bud comes, and then bud, after maturity, it gets detached from the parent body and lives an independent life. Now this one can respire both aerobically and anaerobically. That means in the presence of oxygen and also in the absence of oxygen they can respire. But during anaerobic respiration, that means in the absence of oxygen, when they respire, glucose breaks down into alcohol and carbon dioxide, and it gives you less energy. This you'll be studying in the higher classes. For you, what is important to know that they can respire in the presence of oxygen and in the absence of oxygen as well. Now the chemical equation is here. Glucose is broken down in the absence of oxygen in alcohol and carbon dioxide and gives less energy. So those who have not seen yeast, if you go to the market, you can get this type of packets of yeast. If you open this, you will see something like this. This is yeast. Okay, if you mix this yeast with warm water and in the floor, if you need it, then it rises up. Okay, and with this you can make fluffy things like typho, okay, fale and other things. Okay, and that is why it is used in bakery industries. The bread, the buns which you eat, there they use yeast so that the bun or bread becomes fluffy. Okay, now we'll be talking about some useful fungi. So not all fungi are harmful, but some are very, very useful. Some can save your life also. Fungi decompose dead plants and animals and release simple substances into the soil which are utilized by the plants. So they are also used in the fertility of the soil because they decompose the dead plants and animals. Yeast, just now we discussed about it. It is used in bakery. It is added in dough where it uses the sugar as food and breaks it down into carbon dioxide and alcohol and make the dough rise. So that is why you can see it is widely used in bakeries. Then all the alcohol and alcoholic drinks made, wine, beer, whiskey, whatever it is, these are made by the process of fermentation of cereal and molasses. Molasses is sugarcane juice which produce ethyl alcohol. Now wine is also prepared by the fermentation of grapes. And how is beer prepared? It is prepared by the fermentation of barley. Okay, so you can see in the alcohol industry, this is the main ingredient for the fermentation of fruits and cereals so as to get the alcoholic drinks. And last but not the least, many antibiotics are obtained from the fungus. Have you ever heard this name, penicillin? It's an antibiotic. It is obtained from a fungus which is known as Penicillium. So this is Penicillium fungus. It helps to prevent the disease caused by bacteria. So they are used in bakeries, they are used in alcohol industries. They also used to decompose the dead and decaying plants and animals, and they are also used to make medicines to prevent the diseases. Now let us learn about some harmful bacteria. They are also very dangerous. In humans, many skin diseases are caused by fungi like ringworm. So sometimes on your neck you find some spot and the doctor tells you this is a fungal infection. It's a skin infection, it's a fungal infection. Those who play football, they may have athlete's foot and Dobby's itch. Some may have infection in their ears and lungs and nervous system also. So now here you can see those who put the wet boots and play the football, the boot is not dried, so they get this type of fungal infection which is called athlete's foot, and this is Dobby's itch. So always it itches, and most of the time when you are not hygienic, you don't change your clothes, you don't wash your clothes, and you put on the wet clothes, then you may have this type of fungal infection, skin diseases. This also attack the leather, cloth, paper, rubber, camera lenses and destroy them. The most common example nowadays, if you check your shoes which is not used for so many days and weeks, you'll find the fungus there. Okay, and the leather belt also, and the leather jackets, even on your books if you are not using, camera lenses, etc. And this also causes rotting of food, rotting of wood in many trees, and because of this the timber is destroyed. You must have seen the furnitures, maybe if wooden ceiling is there or something, you will find the fungus there in the rainy season. Not only they cause disease in human beings, they also cause disease in plants. In wheat plants, they cause rust and smut diseases. And then comes spores of Rhizopus, mucor and other fungi germinate on jam, jellies, pickles, bread, meat and make them unfit for consumption. So here you can see it's a bottle of pickle. On top of that you will see this type of cottony growth. This is nothing but fungi. So this cannot be utilized. This is unfit for consumption. Same way, if you see the jam or jelly bottle which is not used and kept in some corner, then it will have fungal growth. So they spoil the food. And with this, we have come to the end of this video. Let's stay home, let's stay safe, and have a good day.